Hey everybody, it's Dennis again. Today I am going to talk about the second step. We talked about the first step. I want to be clear that I don't actually describe the step as it's written. You can do that on your own, and you should be going to step meetings or any meeting that talks about the steps. And like I said, I talked about the first step and why it's important and what the real behind the book messages in AA. Well, the first step really means, you came to the point where you got to stop drinking. Second step. Now, the second step I'm going to read to you, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. The book actually goes deeply into trying to say, come on, I know you don't want to believe in God. I know that God's scary and all that. I have a whole thing on God. It's not scary, and how you interpret God is up to you. You can do this without having a deity. I know there's in our current culture a lot of people who just don't believe. It is, to be brutally honest, AA is a spiritually based program. It is inspired by God, and it is driven by God. And I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh no, not that." But that's the real truth of it. And we do it in a very gentle way, and we don't force you to believe in religion. Or we don't force anything, we just suggest. But we don't have a religion. We don't care about how you practice your faith or where or whatever that. But it is, and I don't want to get too deep into this because, I could, but I'll lose everybody if I talked about the reason why it's good to have an objective deity in your life. But the thing is here, what we need to do is sort of have an anchor of reality, right? I talked about the first step where your mind is all twisted and going around and your normal is not normal. And you're trying to get to normal. Well, having a basis of normal, something that says, okay, everybody, this is the normal, this is reality, this is the way it should be and is good. That's why you have to have that God, because it's an objective saying, here it is, here, this is real. Your mind up there ain't real. Right? So the point is you have an anchor into that reality, but there's another side of all this. And the second step, people say, this is the most important step. This is every step is the most important to somebody. This is my favorite step because the point isn't so much about the God thing. And I want to say that again. The point isn't so much about the God thing. The point is getting sanity into your life. And I'm going to tell you that the best ways to do this, and we do this further on, is not just God, but another person that you trust, okay? That can lead you in the second step. You really, really, really could use some help on the second step with somebody in your life that's in program, that's sober, that has done it before, and you have a good feel about their the spirituality that they have within them. Sometimes you can just see, there's I used to call it the AA look. I still call it the AA look. And it's just this sort of spiritual peace that they have inside them. And you would see that and you say, wow, they look so, and they're just so at peace with themselves and the world around them, no matter what, it's crumbling down and everything. Anyway, so here's what goes on. You start talking out loud with somebody about what's going on. This is the point where sanity comes in, and God helps you, because God will help you, the God of your understanding. You don't want to say God, the higher power. It doesn't, just words. But the point is that you go through it with somebody else, not just squirrely in your head, and God by your side, and you start talking about the secrets. And it is then when you start hearing yourself out loud saying, yeah, that's what I've been doing. And then the other person who will not be shocked at all. They'll say, yeah, I did that too. But it is here where your secrets start coming out, that the sanity starts coming in. And you need to do this with God. And I always think the second step is God and another person. I really like the pairing. And we do that in the fourth step and the fifth step as well. But I think that having another person, I mean, it's the whole point of being in recovery with other people is to have them with you. So what's going on is that the secrets come out and the sanity comes in. The beginning of it, right? The beginning of it. And to me, this was so big. This was this was the beginning of me starting to really get it, was in the second step. The third step is another thing, and it's very, very difficult to really do the third step perfectly every day. It's impossible to do all of these steps perfectly every day, except for the first step, which is when you don't drink. You don't have to. You can do a first step perfectly just by not drinking today. Anyway, but the second step is, you're starting to get more tethered into reality. You're starting to find your way into what is the better way to be, right? And you see yourself as the better you. Doesn't all happen in a day, This takes time, and it takes the second step though. It's a wonderful step. It's not one of those pain in the ass, I got to get out the book thing, start writing. It's not. It's just you starting to tell and believe in God being there with you and working your way through those secrets, those things that you're thinking that are not right. Anyway, that's my second step spiel. I welcome anyone to make comments and correct me if you think I'm wrong on my interpretation, my take on the second step, but this is how it served me. It served me a lot, and I think of the second step, and I really feel deeply about how it has brought me into sanity. Thanks.